we really kind of just stuck with basics and didn't try to do anything too crazy, no herbs and crazy flavors. So just kind of classic Angostura style bitters, a little orange and cherry. You got a tiny pour because we don't have a ton of it. I apologize. Warm also, it's going to perceive maybe a little more sweet than it would cold, just like anything. But yeah, we're real happy with it. The idea is if you have a glass in the middle of nowhere and you're camping and you've got a bottle, you've got a fine cocktail. If I were to do it at home, I might dress it up a little, you know, in orange or cherry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Irene, please. Yep.
a lot of time now. We're gonna taste the four things like I said. So, we're gonna taste the cigar malt.
I will definitely.
And so I'm gonna just turn it over to Ty here, who is my partner distillery, founder of Andalusia. And he'll tell you a little bit about the distillery, and then I'll tell you a little about the project we're collaborating on. Sounds good? All right, you should have a little something in your glass to,
All right.
you start.
Yeah, you guys, welcome. Just kind of describing the old fashioned a little bit. Striker is our kind of our American, our Texas style single malt. We've got some traditional whiskeys, but this one we feel is a little more craft and innovative. We kind of brought Scotch home to Texas and kind of made it Texan in a number of ways. One, instead of using peat, we use oak and mesquite wood to smoke our barley. So hardwoods, much like a barbecue brisket kind of thing. So very Texas style. And then it's aged in new oak because you can kind of see that it's going to have like that nice bourbon color. So that makes it, you know, even more American. So we like to say if Scotch was born in Texas 500 years ago instead of Scotland, this is what it would have been. But again, this is the RTD version. It is a little cocktail ready to go. A little orange, a little cherry. The equivalent of about 1 dash of Angostura. So some people like 5.
Everyone got it?
Yep. Everybody got it? Yep. So it's nice. You already have the smoke in the glass, so you don't have to do all the smoke show, and that's sometimes fun. But my wife gets mad at me when I do it in the kitchen and the whole house smells like smoke. But guys, a little about Andalusia. It is named, it's on my family farm in between 2 little towns in a very rural county in central Texas. We are about an hour away from Austin and San Antonio, so we're still within striking distance of some fun places, but very rural. We raise sheep and chickens. I have a llama that protects the sheep, and we were doing that for a number of years, but we're on a major highway. So we opened the distillery in the tasting room right there on the highway. Looking back at the land deed from before my family owned it, it was owned and called the old Andalusia Ranch. And so that's where we kind of wanted to honor the name of the ranch. We're finally just explaining that a little better on our bottle. He's like, Andalusia, what's that? And so I spent a lot of time explaining the name. So, but we also do a lot of things that kind of tie back to the original Andalusia in southern Spain. We do a lot of sherry aging. And then we're in a very kind of hilly, knobby area of the Texas Hill Country. And so, and it looks like a lot of parts of southern Spain. So, had a lot of ties to the name. We've done malt whiskey since we've opened in 2016. Everything's been graded glass. Never sourced anything. I was a craft brewer for most of my adult life for about 15 years before this, and so we knew malt, we knew barley. I'm also not a big fan of bourbon, sorry, but this really worked out well for us because essentially, you know, we're brewing a beer first and then distilling it into a whiskey. Everything's pot distilled, double distilled. I think everything we try today is going to be double distilled. We have another triple distilled product that's a little more Irish style, but everything's pot distilled and everything's single malt. Whiskeys are 4 years-ish right now. Texas heat. It's not really just the Texas heat in the summer. It's our warmer winters, I think, is where we really kind of catch up and kind of lap other areas. So 3 years in Texas where we are is probably 5 or 6 in Kentucky and 10 in Scotland. And that's only because of the hotter summers and then the wild temperature swings that we get. It's the warmer winters, I think we really catch up. When a barrel is very cold, nothing is happening in that barrel. Your oxidation has slowed down. Your extraction of sugars has slowed down. I like to tell people, think about dissolving sugar in iced tea and hot tea. And hot tea dissolves instantly. Put sugar in iced tea, and you can stir for a few minutes. It's still sugar. It's not dissolving. It's so cold, and that's what's happening in these barrels. So Kentucky has real winters. It snows there, so they'll lose a couple months every year, and we have like a week of winter or something like that where we are. It might snow or ice every 3 years or so. Definitely not every year. So I think that's really where we catch up with a lot of our time. Texas whiskey has gained a reputation for that kind of heat, aging, hot flavors. I don't think it's necessarily warranted. There have been several brands from Texas, some real big ones, making some whiskeys like that. But it doesn't have to be. So I think we're a lot more traditional in our Irish and Scotch kind of flavors, but then also sort of sometimes bring in kind of a fun like Texas and Bourbon. Old fashioned, what do y'all think?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Again, it's going to be a little sweeter than it would be if it was cold. Like if you're eating ice cream, it's sweet, but you let it melt and you drink the melted ice cream, it's like crazy sweet. So it's like that. A little ice, and that's typically we even just serve that in our tasting room. Our old fashioned has always been the Striker old fashioned in our tasting room, and we would have it in a little barrel or something like that. And we would make them for order, but it's the exact same thing. I mean, it's our whiskey, which is normally 100 proof. So the cocktail is down to 80 proof. So it's the strength of a normal commercial whiskey. But then just a little bitter, simple syrup, orange and cherry. And so we kept it very basic.
Just to let folks know, by the way, if you haven't seen them, in the back corner over there and right here, there are bottles of water and dump buckets. So if you don't care for something, feel free to dump it. And there's water to rinse. It's just Poland Springs water in a full bottle. So.
Okay, I'm gonna have the Ali from the cigar shop just tell you a little bit about why he's here and what have you done today?
So we have a variety of different cigars that we thought would actually pair well with your whiskey. Starting with your Emerald, which is like a little spicier, nuttier cigar. Then you have Undercrown, your second best cigar of the year, 96 rated, Monte Cristo 1935. Of all, I think the best one to be pairing with your whiskey would be Liga Privada number 9 NT52. As Matt would say, like any cigar would actually go with better with whiskey.
They all go good with whiskey.
So,
that would go.
I mean, we thought these cigars would be good to show up a weekend.
Not bad.
Cool, thanks. And so if you have prepaid for your cigar malt, it's already. But if you haven't, we got plenty for you to take home. Okay, but all your receipts are on there, so we'll help you find your bottle. Okay, thanks, Ali. And Ali. So the next one we're gonna taste, we're kind of gonna build you up to the cigar malt. You already have it. The second one is our single barrel that we bought almost 2 years ago. It's a Striker, which is triple wood smoked. You can speak with Striker, and I can pour.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I got into Striker a little bit, but a little more detail on it. I talked about it being kind of hardwood and Texas smoke. We do a real kind of layered approach to our smoking. We have 3 different woods we use and 3 different kind of themes. We need like a body for the whiskey. That's the majority of the wood. We use oak, so probably about 50% of the wood is oak. That's the body. Then we have our flavor. That's apple wood. That's about 30% of the wood. And then we have our accent. So it's body, flavor, accent. And so each with kind of diminishing amounts. So 20% mesquite. Mesquite's very powerful and very sharp. You can overdo things with mesquite. So it really produces a very well-rounded, layered smoke. If anybody enjoys, barbecue and smoking meat, I recommend doing that instead of just using one type. Add an oak and then some kind of fruit wood or something like that together to get a really beautiful, well-rounded smoke. We will smoke our barley in-house. We have a smokehouse, and we'll take our malts and shallow racks, and we'll just kind of flood the smokehouse with smoke for 24 hours. Let the barley settle overnight, and then in the morning we'll take it out. It's about 10% of our mash bill. So this whiskey is smoked, but it is definitely not like a face melter, a Lefroy, Gagveg, Lagavulin, Octomore. It's obviously it's different also because it's hardwood, but the level of smoke is pretty tolerable. So much so that you can enjoy another one. You haven't been just completely blown away by the smoke level. So this is the whiskey that the old fashioned we just had is made out of. So obviously not as sweet as our last expression. No sugar in this. We were lucky enough to this is our flagship. We have, between the different products, maybe up to 20 SKUs right now, but this is half of our business is this one product, and everything else is the other half. Striker is our flagship. It's fun because we can't choose our flagship. You guys, customers, choose our flagship for us, and I'm so happy that it's this one, because some of our other whiskeys are very traditional, Irish and Scotch style, sticking to tradition. But this was more craft and innovative and local, and so we're really happy that this is the one that everybody's drawn to.
So this one has kind of a cool story. When we go to Texas, we go to Austin, go to whiskey school, which we're actually doing tomorrow, so we can hang out for a long time tonight. So Jen is going to become hopefully a level 1 som as is Justin, and one of my other customers who already flew there today, they couldn't even make this event because they're so excited to be there. So we're gonna have 3 more new whiskey soms, assuming they all pass. We'll make sure they do. But when we say we go to Austin, we never spend any time in Austin. Flip and I are there a lot, at least 8 times a year. And as soon as we land, we rent a car, and then guess where we end up? Andalusia. I don't know why. And it's been for good reason. So a couple of years ago, we were just kind of hanging out at the distillery, and we were tasting some barrels. I'm like, this is really good, but it was missing a little something. And there was another customer, retailer down in Galveston, and they had. Was this triple distill? I guess it was triple distill.
Yeah, there's a triple.
Yeah, triple distill in a it was in the forecast. Ours was just in the regular cast, and I'm like, it's missing some sweetness, and theirs was like missing some tannins and some structure. So of course, when you give me more than 2 things in my hands, I'll start blending. So I started blending the 2 together, and it came out really nice, and instantly it was a much better whiskey already. So I go, Ty, smell this. He goes, what's that? I go, that's my blend. So then, we all tasted it, and even the guys from Galveston, and everybody agreed that it was a much better whiskey. So because it's a nice small craft distillery, we get to do what the hell we want, which is, I want swap barrels. They go, okay, so they dump our whiskey into a tank, dump their whiskey into a tank, and then we swap barrels. So we got the port, which is why there's a little extra sweetness here, and they got our barrel, which gave them a little bit of just hint of smoke. I just tasted it, and it's still coming along, but I think ours benefited way more right off the bat. They haven't picked up their bottles yet, and it's okay because the triple distillery is a slightly different animal. So from then on, I was like, wow, this is really nice that we can actually do different things at a distillery. Because you go to the big guys, they'll look at you with 3 heads when you ask to do something give me more than 3 samples, like, oh no, that's our rule, So it's really, really nice to try to work with a lot of small distilleries that way, because they give you a lot of flexibility. Plus, they're just really nice guys. So then we'll fast forward to the next one. It's a nice segue into what course did we enjoy this?
Yeah.
Right, so I get burnt ends, I want to have burnt ends with this.
126 proof, and so definitely enjoy it as is, but don't be afraid if you want to add a little water to it. And even if it remains above 100 proof, it's still going to be a different animal. Smoke tends to be wrapped up in alcohol too, and it's a solvent. Alcohol is a solvent. It'll absorb those kind of smoky oils, and so as you lower the proof, those smoky oils will come out of solution and it'll taste them more. So it will taste smokier as you go. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to do 1-to-1 or anything like that. Yeah, a little too watery, but yeah.
On a hot day, drop a rock in it, a big rock in it, and enjoy it.
And this can definitely survive some ice. Not be overwhelmed. Yep.
All right, any questions on that? Cool. All right, so
And last comment real quick. What put this on the map was Whiskey Advocate magazine does top 20 whiskeys in the world every year. And 3 or 4 years ago, Stryker was on the top 20 list. And I mean, there was only like 6 or 7 whiskeys from America. Most of them were generational distilleries, and we were the only craft whiskey, definitely the only American malt, and only the second time Texas has ever made the list. So we're very proud of that for Stryker. So
Yeah.
Brad, real quick.
Yeah, no, and I had no idea of any of that because I just go and I taste it. It's good. So it's great that, you know, we already won some, you know, medals and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so because we go to Andalusia as often as we do whenever we go to Texas, I was there last October. It was the Bastard's Ball. That's the whiskey tribe has hosts a big party every year. Like 500 people show up, and nobody gets drunk over the course of 5 hours. And there's like 9, 10 vendors pouring whiskey, and a lot of kind of people like you asking intelligent questions about the whiskey and stuff like that. And it's really, really nice event. But so we went the day before. Was it Thursday? I think, or Friday. So Cliff and I. Oh, I know it was our Somme reunion. The first one ever, and we paid for it. We never went to it. We got up in the morning.
We made dinner.
Yeah, we did make dinner. We didn't make lunch. So we woke up and we're like, let's go to Andalusia. It's like 8:30 in the morning, right? I mean, who thinks about going to go drink whiskey at 8:30 in the morning? We really weren't going to drink whiskey. So we show up, and Ty's there, and Moose, who is their distiller and blender, he does both, obviously. We were just hanging out there, so literally we were just sitting. You guys just maybe had some music event. So we're sitting on this makeshift stage in the Rick House, and you know they start pulling barrels, and they're like, here, try this, here, try that, and that's what I love about the whiskey community, right? It's unlike wine people. All right, I came from wine. We never go, oh, here, try this or try that. You open the bottle, you go, this is really special. Whereas with whiskey, because of the nature of the liquor, you always want to share it, right? Because what's good whiskey without sharing it? You can't tell anybody else about it. So of course they were pouring me stuff, and same thing, you know, they poured me more than 2 or 3 things, and I started blending. I was like, holy shit, this is really good. This is like, you know, I think maybe we could make this a thing. So I said, tell me a little bit more about it. So what we're gonna pour next is the Cigar Malt. And yes, very fresh. So I never thought I was going to make a cigar malt. I mean, I know I've been blending, like I've blended for Kings County, blended for a bunch of distilleries. Never thought I would actually start my own brand. But right then and then, when Ty explained to me what the whiskeys were, so 20% of this whiskey is heavily peated. It's almost 3 years old, and it's set in a PX sherry cask. There are 2 of them. They had a port and a PX sherry. I really like the one in PX sherry. And then the rest of the stuff is, some of you already know, we're going to make you guess the age, but most of you already know the age. It's only 2 years old. It turned 2 in February of this year. So that's how young this whiskey is. You can taste it if you haven't tasted it. Anyway, so the 80% is single wood smoke. It's Stryker that is single wood smoke. So it's peach wood smoke, which gives it a easy complexity which I never thought would.
Texas Hill Country is famous for peaches,
Yeah.
like Fredericksburg, Texas. So.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm gonna pour and talk. I think I can pour now.
Peaches, like wood from a peach tree, has been smoked over the years.
So when I go, oh shit, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll do
Smoke
just like-
different woods, right, for future projects.
A bacon striker.
So in my mind right there, I'm like,
It added
I see a 5-year project. I can cut down because there's plum tree in the back of my yard that is seen its day, and I don't want to kill it yet until I'm ready to wood turn on it. But anyway, I asked Ty, I said, how many branches do I need? It was about 6 logs about this size. So that means all the fruit trees in my backyard, I can cut the branches down and then dry them out and then send them out there, ship them out there. So I see like a 5-year project for this thing already, right? So over the course of the next 5 years, well, we'll have to use a few woods between them, maybe some pecan or whatever. But 2 years, that's what it takes to be able to smoke the malt and then make a whiskey and wait for it to turn 2 so I put it in my blend. So I'm like, okay, this is really cool. So I said, can we make this a project? He's like, yeah. So the Irene Tan Spirits Company was born that day. But unfortunately, Irene Tan does not own Irene Tan Spirits Company. My sister does, because we have dumbass laws in this country where I cannot own a liquor store and own that. So owned by her. She hires whiskey mentors, which is me, to do different projects. legal bullshit. Just in case somebody goes, oh, you can't do both. I already know that. I talked to my attorney. I think he sent me some samples in December of more peach samples, and I go, okay, this is the blend that we're gonna do. But we had to wait till it turned 2, just because we wanted to, in February. And this label didn't actually get designed until February when I went out for a course or something. And Kat, who is the Kat, cool, she's very cool. She designed this label for me. And if you when you get your bottle home, if you look at it, the I and the T is it, right? What should we drink? We should drink it. What is it? It is my initials, and it's my brand. And the logo has zeros and ones on the I side, which is where I started. And then on the T side, it's actually a side profile of the barrel. So it kind of tells the story where I kind of started and where I am right now. So we designed the labels, and you guys got it through TTB, like Flash. It's amazing. Came back once only. April 11th, we launched it in Texas at the distillery. So it's available there only, and then magically only in this store. So enjoy.
Now, there are 2 places on the planet to buy this whiskey.
Yeah.
The other one is not close to here. y'all are in a really special place, right?
Although ironically, we'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
There was
I'm
that.
sure most of you already know this is a special place, but this is a especially special place to go.
So I don't smoke cigars, but I now get to drink it, which is kind of nice.
Would you like to start?
And one of the ways that this whiskey is successful at its age is that all the Peachwood whiskey is aged in new oak, and thus the color.
Okay, thanks.
This whiskey has a deep color, so good amount of new oak whiskey, and that's something that we can turn over in Texas pretty quickly. Good for years. Used oak might take a little longer.
Who doesn't like it? I was gonna say get out.
118 proof.
Yep, 118 proof. Yeah, so it's funny when I first concocted this, we took it back to whiskey school, so it was a summer reunion, and I was asking them, I'm like, all right, you know whiskey pours are not, they're free, but they're not. You have to guess how old, has to guess the proof and the type of whiskey. So almost everybody got it wrong, and I think the oldest somebody said was 10 to 15. I was like, oh shit, man, the price of the bottle just doubled. You know, and then proof-wise, people were thinking of maybe like 105. They go, but no, he was probably higher. I go, yeah. But so far it's been very well received. I think we sold a whole buckload when we launched, and it's still selling really well. And I know those of you who pre-ordered, it took a while to get here. Not our fault. We tried our hardest. Distributors, some of them really suck. But the guys we worked with, you know, we had to work through some legal mumbo jumbo before we get it in here. But now it's here. There were only 120 bottles. I think we pre-sold like 36 of them already. I don't know if there'll be any left in Texas.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, hope
There
not.
are only a little under 1,000 bottles. So hopefully we will be able to maybe every year and a half or so release a new one. And it'll be completely different, I believe. I don't think I want to make the same thing. That seems boring.
We'll do a vintage probably.
Yeah.
We'll probably make a bit of date on it next time or something.
Yep,
but
yeah, something like
this
that.
is the first.
Yeah, but I was so excited about this project and how well received it was that when I met some people who have really good connections to get used barrels in France. There's a barrel supplier that's very reputable, and so I emailed them and I said, hey, I want 4 barrels for future projects. So I have a XO cognac barrel coming. I have a fresh dump. Everything is just fresh dump this season. A Bunyol's barrel, which is all dessert wine ones. Riverswell barrel, which is, if you know my Christmas cake, Irish whiskey that was finished in that. That was really nice, good spices. And the last one is the Mumsiak barrel, which is my rye whiskey, which we're going to taste a couple of weeks from now. Was finished in this white dessert wine cask. So Ty and I have split on the barrels. So he owns 2, I own 2, and then we're going to put the heavily peated portion in there to let it sit however long it needs to get the flavors. And then in a year or so, I will have options of like Four Roses, right? They have the 10 yeast recipes, well, I got my 10 barrel recipes. So very excited that I could, mix and match to see what comes out really nice.
And
And
put your secret code on the bottle. And
yeah.
people have a decoder ring or something.
That's gonna be
It's like Four Roses and their lettering and stuff.
Yeah, we should do something like that. A little, little QR code you can scan to know more about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but this, I wanted to just get this out, when it was ready, but obviously it was ready very quickly. And didn't want to spend a ton of time or money on the bottles, and they really have beautiful bottles. And might just use your bottles wherever you got, and even though it's got the A on it, it's like it's your whiskey, so why wouldn't I want your label on it anyway? But then they just, decorated really nice label for me. And then the rest is history. So you're the first, really, actually, this is the first time I've actually done this here. So very excited. So thank you for humoring me and letting me, have fun projects. And if you're a gin drinker, we're working on a gin for the Heritage Spirits Company also. Might come out at this point, probably in the spring next year.
You can make it whenever.
Yeah, I don't know if we can make a Wendy. If we can, it'll be great, but it'll be fun.
Gin's a little faster than whiskey, so.
This is true.
We've got some time, but it'll be quick.
So yeah, so some kind of cool ideas of how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna send him a live plant of one of the botanicals we're gonna use, because I can't grow it here outside, but in Texas, they can grow it 11 months out of the year outside and just bring it in when it gets cold. So that'd be cool. But anyway, okay, questions? Okay, cool. All right, last one. This was hard telling you. You want to talk about your Texas?
Yeah, sure. We saved this for the last because it's definitely a change of pace, a complete 180, if you will. We dabble in some other spirits. We have, we might want to rinse this time. We've gotten progressively smokier, so rinse wasn't as crucial so far, but we can wait if anybody wants to get a little rinse or not. This is a rum that we've been doing. So since we've got pot stills, we do brandies, whiskeys, rums. Those are the types of spirits that do well in a pot still. The gin project is on totally different. So this is our rum. It is molasses based, and this is what's known in the rum world as a funky rum. So think Jamaican overproof rum, very specific to Jamaica. Great example. We won Best White Rum at the New Orleans Spirits Competition last year, and the distiller from Worthy Park was on the panel of judges, and he didn't know what it was, and he described it as a beautiful example of Jamaican overprotection. He lives in Jamaica and works at Worthy Park, so we're very proud of that. This one has been aged for 2 years, so we're just now releasing our aged rum. That does tone the quote-unquote funk down a little bit. So when I say funk, these are big tropical flavors. First you get some of the molasses that it's made out of, but then you get papaya and banana and passion fruit. This is not a rum to make a mojito with. That's a Puerto Rican rum or something like that. This is for making a crazy tiki drink. A Mai Tai, a hurricane or a painkiller. Tiki is all the rage again right now, and so we've got a lot of tiki bars opening around us. So we're really proud of this rum. It is Navy strength, so this is 114 proof. It's a classic strength that the British would sail with their rum in the British Navy. So yeah, again, water can be your friend. But the barrel aging does tone the quote-unquote funk down a little bit. So we're giving you last because it is a total palate record to some extent. And it'd be hard to go back to whiskey immediately right after this without a reset. But yeah, beautiful tropical flavors, bananas, kind of that papaya mango family. So a lot of these rums are real popular in the rum community right now. There's a lot of overlap in the rum and the whiskey community. they're barrel aged products. So half the flavor in a whiskey is the barrel aging and the flavors you get from the barrel. And then so therefore same for a rum, and then it's a similar technique. So a lot of the vanilla and the oak and the tannins. But this got used oak, you can tell, not nearly as dark as the striker. And it kind of subdues again some of those real tropical notes. So this would be like a Foursquare, a Hamden. Those are brands in the rum world that people are really geeking out about as far as a lot of these fun, aggressive, cool flavors. The rum world is vast. You know, if I was making a mojito, I would use a Bacardi or something like that. It would make sense. A lot of those Puerto Rican rums, interestingly enough, side note, I didn't know I had, yeah, they're barrel aged, and then they filter them clear again. What? There's a whiskey distiller. I was like, why would you ever do that? But that's where a lot of that softness in the vanilla comes from in Puerto Rican white rums. But yeah, it's nuts. But in general, those are very soft and easy. There's the whole sugar cane rum world, the cachakas, the rum agricoles. Those are very vegetal and grassy. But molasses-based rums, unless you column distill them and filter the hell out of them, are always going to be the most aggressive, you know, fun, interesting rums in the rum world. And again, Jamaican overproof would be very similar. You mentioned Ray and Nephew is one that this is very close to. I imagine Worthy Park. I don't know if they have a white that they release very much, but again, this is we haven't quite released this into the market yet. I think it's going to be like fall.
So maybe we'll make this for you.
Yeah.
You should make this for you.
Irene is going to carry more of our products, and until then, everything we sell, most everything we sell, can be purchased online. There's a couple states we can't ship to, and Connecticut is not on that list. So we're good there. But you're not going to get Cigar Malt shipped, sorry.
I'm gonna be here for that one.
Would it ship to her or us directly?
It would ship to you directly. Yeah. It still goes through a distributor in Texas, then it goes to a retailer, and then they ship it to you. It all happens on our website. It looks very seamless. It's not really us shipping it to you. But yeah, we still have to pay off the mob. Nobody works for a distributor here, do they? Well, that's one of the beautiful things that we've done with Cigar Malt is that that's why we're selling it only at our stores. We're able to reduce, you know, all the unnecessary middlemen that are in between us.
And all they did was money from us and not do much.
Yep.
Still screw it up somehow.
So this is a great way to not only support us, but have a really fantastic
Yeah.
and stick it to the distributor.
So we, you don't need for me to sign the bottles, Mr. Juicery on there, but if you like I to sign your bottles, we've got, color pencil to play with.
Yeah, and we're just gonna kind of hang out, do a social hour for a little bit. Like I said, I'd be happy to sign some bottles. Any thoughts or questions for the group on the rum?
Anybody needs a second sip to convince them?
How
that
long
you
it's
buy
been
it?
aged? How long it's been aged in the barrel?
About 2 years.
2 years?
And rums typically, you know, don't have some can, but in general, soft aging a rum, like a tequila, for example, is a little more common. So 2 to 3 years is probably enough for us. We might put some back for 5 years or so.
Those American oak?
Yes, it would have been American White Oak, probably one of our barrels that's been used at least 2 times before.
Okay.
So very first time we use a barrel, we can do striker, get nice dark color out of it. Then we can do our Irish and Scotch style whiskey the second time. And then it'll go rum or brandy the third time. Maybe a fourth. So yeah, we're getting a lot of use out of these expensive barrels. Because if half our business is striker, it works out that we can just buy new barrels and everything else gets used again. But new barrels are expensive for distilleries. They can't buy a shipping container. You know, they're $300 when they used to be 150, less than 10 years ago. So there's been shortages in the barrel world lately, clamoring. There's been bad barley harvests lately, and so we've had some problems getting a lot of ingredients.
What do you feel like?
Cheers, guys. Thanks everybody for coming today. I'm gonna hang out, ask me the dirtiest whiskey question you can imagine. Feel free. And we'll be hanging out for at least an hour. So, like she said, she's got like a 6 a.m. flight. Yeah, a little later. We're gonna be turning in early tonight. But yeah, thanks you guys for coming. Fun. Good meeting you. Oh, this is good.
If you, so that's, and if you write that,